Welcome back everyone. As most of you guys know, I've been doing a bunch of Google Pixel 5 comparisons, and I wanted to compare it against a phone that is kind of in the same league as it, which is pretty surprising because the Galaxy S20 FE also just came out like not even that many weeks ago, and these are selling for the same price in a couple of places, but the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE is actually selling for a little bit cheaper. Apparently on Amazon you can pick it up from there for $5.99, where the Google Pixel 5 is for $6.99, so maybe $100 difference. In some other places there's a little bit change in prices, but right now I think the Galaxy S20 FE is a little bit cheaper than the Google Pixel 5. But which one should we pick up? Okay, if you personally don't have either of these ones and you have $700 to spend, I honestly would not recommend picking either of these phones up. I would probably recommend picking up a Galaxy S20 on Amazon, which has gone down in value a lot, and you can pick that up for like less than these two phones. But if you want to pick up either of these three phones that I mentioned, the links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the front panels of both, the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE has a 6.5-inch Super AMOLED display. It's 1080p actually, it's not 1440p, but it's still a tremendous display in my opinion. You can really do everything you need to on this panel, and the biggest asset about this phone is that it has that 120Hz refresh rate, which is really awesome. And going from, like I said before, 90Hz to 120Hz, there's a noticeable difference. You're taking a toll on a couple other areas, but with the display itself, it is one of its biggest assets. It's that hole punch display. It doesn't have a ton of bezel around it. It looks extremely good. And like I said before, I just don't have any problems with it. I think it looks extremely fine. And even though it's not 1440p, I honestly don't think a lot of people care. It is definitely one of my favorite panels on a budget tier device for sure. Now, the Google Pixel 5, on the other hand, has a 6-inch OLED panel, and this is 1080p. So it's pretty much the exact same resolution on both. The panel has a hole punch display as well, a little bit of bezel around the whole entire phone, but I kind of think the Galaxy S20 FE has like more of a boxy shape to it, and I kind of like the Pixel 5, how it kind of curves around the corners a little bit more. It makes it feel more like a, more up-to-date device. The Galaxy S20 FE I think looks fine for the most part, but it looks more like a Note in my opinion, and I like how the Pixel 5 kind of curves on the sides. Now, you have a 90Hz display on the Google Pixel 5 as well, and that is another huge asset of that device. You can go ahead and, use that 90Hz as a variable, so sometimes it'll go up, sometimes it'll go down, but I'm personally okay with it. Like, it's really not that big of a deal to me. But I think on the front panel side, the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE probably wins, but the Google Pixel 5 is extremely good as well. Now, both phones also have IP68 dust and water resistance, so you can go and expand that storage to whatever you want to, which is really cool. And on the bottom, they both have USB Type-C ports, and on the back, you can see that we have glass backs on none of them. The Samsung Galaxy S20 FE has a plastic back. The Pixel 5, on the other hand, has like an aluminum back, but it's kind of textured with this weird material that I'm not really a fan of. But, to each their own. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. And I don't really think one feels way more premium than the other one, so kind of keep that in mind. But you can see the camera modules are a little bit different as well. And the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE has a triple camera setup. The Google Pixel 5 has a dual camera setup, and I'll go ahead and hit on them right now. So the Pixel 5 has a 12.2 megapixel wide-angle lens and a 16 megapixel ultra-wide sensor, where the Galaxy S20 FE has a 12 megapixel wide-angle lens and an 8 megapixel telephoto lens, and then a 12 megapixel ultra-wide sensor. And both of these things can do 4K at 60, and I personally don't think one phone is like the way better camera over the other one. I think both of them look extremely good whenever you go and take photos on it and everything. Now, I will say the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE kind of does have an advantage when it comes down to having that additional telephoto lens. I feel like that really helps out in the whole entire flavor of the phone. That's usually the best way I can put it. It's not a necessity. I do feel like the ultra-wide sensor is better, but that is still something that's a feature at the end of the day, and I think it's truly an asset for the S20 FE. Now, the Pixel 5, on the other hand, has a really good camera too. I don't have any problems with it, and I think for day-to-day tasks, I mean, if you're trying to film like a bunch of videos and like trying to do some really crazy stuff on your phone, like, I feel like these phones will probably be around the same. However, keep in mind that with the S20 FE, you will have those pro video options and pretty much more features built into that native camera app over the Google Pixel 5. So if it's a big deal to you, then keep that in mind. If it's not, then obviously it doesn't matter. But I think for a lot of people, having the more features is probably the better way to go than not. And I'll probably say maybe the Galaxy S20 FE has the better camera just because of the features and the telephoto lens and all that stuff. But the Pixel 5's camera is really good as well. Now on the front, this is where the bigger difference lies, I think. With the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE, you have a 32 megapixel lens. The Pixel 5 has an 8 megapixel lens, and you can only do 1080p at 30 on the front camera of the Pixel 5, but you can do 4K at 60 on the front camera of the S20 FE. And like I said before, that's a pretty big asset for it. You want to have, 4K at 60 on the front camera if you can, and the fact that we have it on the S20 FE is definitely more of an asset. The Pixel 5's 1080p camera is still good, but I feel like the S20 FE has the, probably the best well-rounded camera between these two devices. So in terms of that really pretty much covers it up there. Now hitting on the software, this is probably the biggest advantage for the Pixel lineup, probably for the whole entire lifetime of it. We have day one updates as soon as Android 11 comes out. For all the phones that are supported for it, you get that update. And we already have Android 11 on the Google Pixel 5. We have the One UI 3 beta on the Samsung side, but we're still on Android 10. We have One UI 2.5. And, it is what it is. I don't know when the next update is coming out, so we're probably just going to have to wait for it. But I'll probably tell you, as I said before, software-wise, you're always going to be getting really, really good software on the Google side of things. So you can pick up this phone now, the Pixel 5, and it'll not only outlast the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE, but it'll pretty much go ahead and be forever supported because of custom ROMs and stuff. And that is a huge thing that I really love about the Google side. You can go ahead and root it, you can custom ROM it, and pretty much go from there. And like I said before, that's a huge asset of that device. If you're okay with the S20 FE and One UI, then go for it. But me personally, I would rather have the Pixel lineup of software than the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE software. So in terms of software, that pretty much covers it up there. Now hitting on the performance, the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE has the Exynos 990 chipset, but I could have sworn it was the Qualcomm Snapdragon whatever, which was the 865. It has the octa-core CPU, and it has 6 gigs of RAM on the base model and then 8 gigs of RAM on the top two models. Where the Google Pixel 5 has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G chipset, an octa-core CPU, an Adreno 620 GPU, and 8 gigs of RAM on the only one model that it has. Now in terms of performance, this is pretty much how I'd sum it up. The Galaxy S20 FE, tremendous performing phone. Really, anything I threw at it, it was perfectly fine. Yeah, maybe it doesn't have as much RAM as the Pixel 5 for the base model. Pretty much everything about this phone it handled perfectly fine. I think maybe the only downside of this phone, which I've said about the Galaxy S20 and even the Note 20s, is just pretty much the software. There's just always so many things and random things I'm clicking that pop up. That's the only annoyance that I have, and that's usually a software side of things. Hardware-wise, anything that this phone can do, it can, pretty much handle it. If you're multitasking between apps a lot, if you're trying to go and open up an app and do something else, like for day-to-day tasks, like I'm a very basic user, it can handle everything I throw at it. All the typical games and stuff I do on it, perfectly fine. I don't think there's a problem there. The Google Pixel 5 though, I think really shocked me because it was way more smoother than I thought, and it's honestly sounded like Google's paying me to say this. They're absolutely not. The Google Pixel 5 I think is actually a pretty good performing phone too. I personally feel like though the Galaxy S20 FE is a more powerful phone, but I kind of feel like the Pixel 5 is a smoother phone. Even though it doesn't have the 120 Hz, that has that 90 Hz display, I just kind of feel like it's a smoother phone overall. However, if you're trying to get the most powerful phone from your bang for a buck or whatever, you're gonna get a more powerful phone from the S20 FE. But I feel like the Pixel 5 as well, everything I threw at it, it handled perfectly fine. I didn't have that many complaints about it, and I think that's a huge asset when you're looking at a phone. You want to find a phone that basically can handle everything you throw at it, and both these phones can really do it for the most part. But maybe the Galaxy S20 FE is the better one when it comes down to the performance, but I still feel like the Pixel 5 is a really good performing phone too. So in terms of performance, that really pretty much covers it up. Now ending it off with the battery life, you have a 4080 mAh battery on the Google Pixel 5, but you have a 4500 mAh battery on the Galaxy S20 FE. Now between both, I'll honestly tell you, they're both kind of lasting around the same time. Like I didn't find one to be way better than the other one. The Pixel 5 standby time I think is just a little bit better than the Galaxy S20 FE. And the other big thing that I have to mention, and I feel like this is very important, first of all, both of them support wireless charging, which is great, but one supports reverse charging, which I think is just reverse charging from the USB Type-C port, which is the Pixel 5, but the Galaxy S20 FE actually supports reverse wireless charging, which is really impressive. So you can charge a Pixel 5 from the S20 FE, and you can kind of do it vice versa, but you would have to need a cord in order to do it the other way, which I think is, doesn't defeat the purpose, but it is something to keep in mind. I'll definitely tell you with the Galaxy S20 FE, I feel like it might have the better battery life. Again, it has a 1/2 inch bigger display. There's some problems there. I don't know if one is like the way better one, and I'll probably tell you I wouldn't go from one phone to the other just based off battery life. I feel like you're not going to really get a way better battery life on the Pixel 5 or the S20 FE. They may be around the same. If I had to pick a better one, it may just be the Pixel 5, but I feel like the S20 FE is perfectly fine too. So in terms of both phones and battery life, it's kind of confusing, but that's pretty much how I'd sum it up. Now to kind of sum up this video and to answer the question, should you pick up the Pixel 5 or should you pick up the Galaxy S20 FE? Let me tell you some good advantages of the Galaxy S20 FE. First of all, it's a great phone in terms of build quality. It feels pretty good. It doesn't, the plastic background really kind of throws me off, but you have a really good display with a 120 Hz refresh rate, which is really awesome. You have IP certification. You have expandable storage, so you can go and expand that storage to whatever you want to, which is a huge asset. The Pixel 5 does not support that, so keep that in mind. You have a great camera on this thing, both front and back. I feel like it's a better camera than the Pixel 5. I feel like the performance is better on the Galaxy S20 FE as well, and you're getting pretty good battery life. Like, it's going to be able to handle pretty much, everything you throw at it, and the battery's going to be lasting pretty much all day too. You have the inbuilt fingerprint sensor in the display, and it's technically kind of a little bit cheaper right now than the Pixel 5 brand new. But the Pixel 5 has a lot of pros as well. I feel like the front of the Pixel 5 kind of looks more premium, and it also feels pretty premium as well. And with the curved design, I kind of like the way the Pixel 5 looks. I just kind of like this panel just on itself on the S20 FE. The software experience on the Pixel 5 is top tier. You're going to be getting some longer software support than the S20 FE. You're going to be getting a great software experience, a smooth experience. You have that 90 Hz refresh rate as well, which is really cool. You have IP certification as well. Performance was pretty much smooth across the board. I really didn't have any issues when it came down to that either, which is another huge asset. You have pretty much the same amount of RAM on the Pixel 5 as you do on the top tier models of the S20 FE. Great cameras, like I said, and battery life is really good too. And like I said, I don't know if I would necessarily go for one or the other, and I don't think one is the way better one. I feel like if you're okay with having a bigger phone and you want all the bells and whistles in a phone and you want everything you can for the price, I feel like the Galaxy S20 FE may be a better way for you to go. I feel like that would probably be the best one for a lot of people, but I personally feel like, me personally, if I had to pick one of these, it may be the Google Pixel 5, just because I love the stock software. I'm okay with giving up a little bit of battery, not that much, but a little bit of battery life, and maybe not, having as great of a camera and the 120 Hz if I'm stuck with the phone that I can go ahead and custom ROM and root in the future. And with day one software updates and all that, I feel like that'd be very important to me. So that really pretty much covers it up. I laid it all on the table. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys get hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my other channel. More importantly than everything, also love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.